Hey friends, Devin here with Backcountry Exposure. In this video today, we are going to take a little bit different of an approach in presenting the gear that I take out with me on a backpacking trip. Typically, when I'm doing a gear loadout video, I already have everything figured out on exactly what I'm taking, and I'm presenting it to you as a full kit. What I want to do is go back a few steps and show you my process of when I stand in front of my gear shelf here, what I'm asking myself, what considerations I'm going through in my mind of, is this the right piece of gear to take? Is it not? Do I want this? Do I not want this? And just kind of show you that packing process and choosing my gear for a trip. So I have a really exciting backpacking trip coming up here very soon that I cannot wait to share with you guys. More information is going to come on that later, but it's a route that I did about 6 years ago. One of the most incredible backpacking trips I've ever been on, and I'm finally getting back out to do it again with some slight changes because of some other logistical things. So with the fall season here and cold weather just around the corner, I want to quickly share with you guys and get your input and help with a project that I am working on, some research I'm doing for a video that will feature the brand Thermore. Thermore is a synthetic insulation manufacturer that's been making synthetic insulations for a very long time. They actually make the insulation that's inside of this jacket that I'm wearing here. And what I want to do in the research that I'm doing is to try to understand better the place that synthetic insulation has in the market. But where I need your help is I am going to be doing a podcast interview with the folks at Thermore to ask some of the hard questions, ask some of the things that are misconceptions around synthetic insulation and just try to understand it better. So leave any questions that you have down in the comment section about synthetic insulation to help drive this conversation that I want to have with Thermore to better understand synthetic insulation, things that we don't understand about it, misconceptions, or how it is a better or inferior product to down. I want to thank Thermore for sponsoring this video today. Let's get to packing my pack. So when I get to this point of now choosing my gear to take out on my trips, it means that I've already done a substantial amount of planning for my trip, meaning that I've already mapped my route. I know where I'm going. I know my dates. I know the season and the expected weather. I have all of those things in place so that I can choose the right gear to give me the experience and basically facilitate the experience that I want to have. What I typically will end up doing is start with my big 4 or big 3 items first and then kind of work down the list from there. And then I'll lay everything out in front of me to make sure that I have everything. And then I can make adjustments to the gear from that point, because sometimes I get excited about something and then I realize, maybe that's not the right choice for this location, or something changes with the dynamic of the group or whatever it is. Then I can make adjustments from there. But I start with the big 4, so let's do that first. Now, I already know what pack I'm going to be using on this trip, and that is a prototype pack from Outdoor Vitals. For the trip that I'm going on, it's a 4-day trip, and it's the fall season, slightly colder temperatures, and so I'm not going to be choosing a smaller pack. In fact, I'm going to choose a larger pack, and that's what this provides for me, is a bit more volume and good carrying capacity. Now, something else that's happening on this trip that involves my choice for my pack is the ability to carry water. I'm going to the desert. It has not rained for some time, and there's no rivers, there's no streams moving water in this area that I'm going to. So I'm relying on rainwater that is collected over the past several months to be in potholes and shaded areas, and it's very likely that I'm gonna have to carry upwards of 6 liters of water at a time to make sure I have enough water when we do find a water source. So I need a backpack that can carry that much weight and have the capacity for me to do that as well. Next is going to be my tent. I've obviously got several options here, but this trip that I'm going on, it's very likely that we're going to be setting up on slick rock every single night and not be able to drive stakes into the ground. So that eliminates a lot of options for me from a non-freestanding tent perspective. So I'm actually going to be looking at a fully freestanding tent, and I've got a few different options, but I am also trying to go fairly lightweight with this. So I'm not going to go with a 2-person size tent. This is a tent that is new to the market that I want to get some more time with, and this is the MSR Hubba Hubba LT1, which I think is going to be the right choice because it's not a huge footprint. It's going to make it easier for me to tuck myself into smaller places, or when you're on slick rock, the flat area of where you're going to be sleeping is not very big as well. So if I take something substantially larger, like this 2-person tent here, or like a tarp tent double rainbow, then it's going to be probably more tent than I need for this trip. So we're going to take a low profile, fully freestanding tent. Sleep system. I'll start with first my sleeping pad. I have a few different options, and I think I already know what I'm going to take, but I'll just share some of the options that I am considering. So I've got my Nemo Tensor All Season. I love this pad, really good R value, but it's not the most comfortable pad for me personally. I have my XPED Ultra 7R. I think this is going to be overkill based on the weather, so I'm actually going to not consider that one anymore. And then I've got my ZenBivy Ultralight pad, which is also a R value of 5. Now, I'm not expecting really cold temperatures, and so I think I'm going to err on the side of comfort as opposed to being as warm as I possibly can, because I know I will sleep super warm on the Tensor. This is also very lightweight, but I think I'm going to go with the ZenBivy Ultralight because I want a good, comfortable night of sleep. And for me, this is one of the most comfortable pads out there on the market. And I have already decided on the sleep system that I'm going to use, and that is the ultralight bed from ZenBivy. This is not sponsored by ZenBivy. They don't have any part in this video. I just love this product, and I sleep really good in the ZenBivy beds. I love the weight aspect of the ultralight bed, and it pairs really nice with their pad. As opposed to maybe something else that I was considering is like my Feathered Friends Swallow, like full sleeping bag, but I think that's going to be too warm for the temperatures that we've got. So this provides some flexibility in being able to sleep warm, but also not be too hot and have that really nice bed-like experience. So ultralight bed, ultralight sleeping pad for my sleep system. And then in here as well is the ZenBivy pillow, which I really like. So that kind of completes my sleep system and being able to be comfortable in my tent and everything. So that should be everything for my big four at this point. Now, something important for me to point out here is that I'm not approaching this gear loadout strictly from a weight standpoint. I am being conscious of the amount of weight that I'm taking with me because I don't want to have a super heavy pack and then add a bunch of water weight as well if I do a water carry. So I do want to be as comfortable as possible and lightweight, but I'm not making weight my sole focus for this entire loadout. The next category of things that I look at when I'm packing my gear is my clothing. What am I going to wear on trail on my person? Let's start with footwear. My go-to is the Danner, sand falling out from my last trip, but the Danner Trail 2650. This shoe has been amazing. I absolutely love it, and I just have a really good experience with it. Then for the clothes that I'm wearing on me as I hike, I've got my Swiftwick Flight XT trail socks, my Outdoor Vitals Altitude sun hoodie that is just, it's my favorite. I love it. And then I've got these pants from Stio, which are just a product that I'm testing for this trip specifically, but these are the Coburn pants that I'm pretty excited about. Now, the weather is going to be fairly warm during the day, so pants might be a little hot. And so I'm a touch nervous about that, but in the evenings when the sun goes down, I'll be glad that I'm wearing pants and not carrying extra unnecessary clothes to change into for the evening, even though I'm carrying a pair of thermals, which is also from Stio. This is the Basis Peak Wool thermal bottoms that I'll use for my sleeping. And then I have a second pair of socks, which are another pair of Swiftwick socks, and then a pair of Saks Quest underwear. That is basically all of my base layers and what I hike in for my trip. And then I've got 2 additional layers. This is a mid layer from Outdoor Vitals that I've been testing for a very long time. I don't know when they're going to release this product, but it's one of my favorite. It doesn't even have a name yet. And then again from Stio is this pinion down jacket. This should be plenty warm for the 40-degree overnight lows with the mid layer. And so that's all I'm gonna carry for my layers on this. Now we are not expecting any kind of rain, so I'm not bringing a wind shell, I'm not bringing a rain jacket on this trip. If there was going to be rain in the forecast in any way, cloudy skies, then I would look at having a rain jacket, but that's just not in the forecast at all. So now at this point, this is where I pull out a couple of the bins that I have that have all of the other small gear items that I would take that are like water filtration, my cooking equipment. So let's pull that stuff out. My water situation is kind of tricky. Don't know what it's necessarily going to be like, but I always carry 2 of these 1 liter size plastic bottles. I like the Essentia bottles. And so I have 2 of those, but then I need additional water carrying capacity. That is going to be done by having, let's see here. Okay, so that's gonna be done by carrying my Canuck Vecto X 2-liter water bag. And that's gonna pair with my Sawyer Squeeze water filter. And then I will carry 1, probably 2 of the Sawyer 1-liter bags. These are super lightweight. I use them as water storage and an easy way for me to carry extra water, and they pack up really small. They're not great for filtering out of because they like to break, but they're great for additional water storage and not having a huge bag and such on your pack so you can kind of split things up. Ooh, I should mention, my sleep system is gonna go inside of this Sea to Summit. I think it's a 7-liter, 8-liter compression bag. And then that's pretty much it for the water filtration. I just wanna have 6 liters of water availability for when I'm going. Now that opens up to my cook system. Now, cooking can be super simple. All I'm gonna be doing is boiling water on this trip. I think I have spent a lot of time recently with the Fire Maple Petrol. So I think I might take a break from that for this trip. And I'm gonna use this kit that I've put together, which is my classic orange GSI cup. I love this thing. But it's been a while since I've used the Toaks 750 milliliter pot. So we're gonna do that. And inside of it, I've got a pack towel. And then I picked this stove up recently, and this is part of the reason I wanna go with this kit. But this is the, what is this? The Camping Moon XD2NE. Like I bought this week. And this is, I think, a stove that a lot of people are pretty interested in because I paid 32 bucks for it. The Soto Windmaster Triflex fits on this, and then it's a pretty good pairing with the Toaks 750. That's what I'm testing for this trip, but again, stoves can be super basic and simple and don't require a lot, especially if you're just boiling water. But I've also got a mini bic in here and then a 100-gram canister. Now I like the Toaks 750 because I can put everything in the pot and it all is contained into one unit, as opposed to if I was like the Toaks 550, the stove and the fuel canister don't fit inside of it. But this is a nice little kit. And the pack towel on top helps keeps things from rattling. And then just goes into my orange cup, and that is my full cook kit. Minus my spoon, which is the MSR Titan long handle spoon. I really enjoyed this a lot. Kind of different from the like Toaks long handle titanium spoon, but this is great. And then I think the last thing for my food and like cooking setup is the food bag that I will take. It's possible that this food bag is going to be too small, and so I may have to take 2 bags, but this is a zippered food bag that I actually make and sell on my Etsy store. I periodically have more availability than I do currently, but I'm working on it. If you're interested in this, there are links down in the video description, but I really like this bag and I've been using it for a long time. But that does not complete my cooking. The last would be this insulated bag from Big Sky International that uses a synthetic insulation. It's super lightweight, but it makes it possible to rehydrate my freeze-dried meals a lot more effectively and enjoy my meal more. So that goes in my food bag, and my spoon goes in there as well. And I think that completes the food setup. Now, it's kind of just like everything else that I need that complements the ability to enjoy myself. So in my mind, everything else that is next is just what's left over. And that's going to be like first aid, poop kit, hygiene, being able to brush my teeth, electronics, that kind of stuff. So what I have here is my poop kit that is also a bag that I make and sell, but I've got my toilet paper in here, hand sanitizer, and my Bogler trowel. This is the best poop trowel, by the way. You can get it from Garage Grown. And then I've also got some wet ones for being able to like clean my hands and stuff. And that is my poop kit. So we'll drop that right there. I've got my first aid kit, pretty simple. Just enough of a first aid kit to take care of myself and my personal needs. Then I've got my electronics. Now, what's kind of unique about being a creator here on YouTube is I think I carry more electronics than most people do, especially battery banks. I carry more battery than I think a lot of people because I'm charging batteries and that kind of thing. But typically for a 4-day trip where I'm filming and such, I will have 3 camera batteries and then I have 2 battery banks. So these are the Nitecore battery banks, the 10,000 milliamp and 20,000 milliamp. And that gives me plenty to make sure that my phone stays charged, my camera stays charged, and then also my Zoleo satellite communicator, which even though I now have an iPhone 16 and I have the ability to send satellite messages with that, I still carry my Zoleo because of several different reasons. I'm actually going to put together a video talking about why I still think a standalone device like this is good to have if you spend a lot of time out of cell service in the backcountry, but I'll have my Zoleo with me, my battery banks, and then I have this other little ditty bag that has a bunch of other things in it. Because I'm taking my ZenBivy ultralight sleeping pad, the stuff sack for it is a inflation sack, and so I'm going to leave behind the FlexTail Zero pump. I don't need that. Don't need a third battery bank, and because I have a new phone, see, I haven't gone through all this stuff, but I don't need a lightning cable anymore for my phone, just the USB-C, so that's cool. I've got my Nitecore NU21 headlamp, and then I also still love to carry this Claymore, I forget. Anyway, it's this little tiny light as well. We've got a coupler for the Sawyer, and then another charging cable for me to charge my phone. So that's going to be all of my electronic items. And now I start to just get into, I have the essentials taken care of. What else do I want to take with me? Do I need to take with me? And I just start to look at all of the gear options and things that I have. Like, do I need to take a backflush syringe for my filter? And I think I'll be okay to not bring this backflush syringe and not have to worry about that. Something that I could consider bringing is like a little ground sheet, but I think I'm going to leave that behind. Ooh, a chair. Can't forget the chair. I'm going to carry the Nemo Moonlight Elite on this trip. I really enjoy this chair. It's not my favorite chair, but it is lighter weight than my Big Agnes chair, and I am trying to go as light as I can reasonably on this trip. So I'm going to carry that chair. I'm just looking through some of the other stuff that I have in here. I don't need a second pair of shoes. I don't think I need to have like a neck gaiter or a buff. I'm not going to be in a spot to be able to hang my food, so I'm going to leave that behind. Oh, I do need this. This is my toothbrush kit, and I have like flossers and stuff in here as well, so I got to make sure I bring that. That pretty much like rounds out the gear that I am taking on this trip. I think maybe I'm going to need a larger like electronics bag for all my camera batteries and stuff, because I am bringing my large Sony camera that I'm filming on right now. But yeah, that will put aside to see if it makes sense for when I'm doing all of my final packing. But that, I think, pretty much does the job on everything that I would be taking on this trip. So now what I want to do is lay everything out, and then we'll pack it preliminarily into my bag, my pack, and see how everything fits and if I feel like I'm missing anything, and kind of go from there. All right, so this is now everything that I've just gone over laid out in front of me to get an idea of, do I have everything that I need? And I'll use a checklist as necessary for me to double and triple check and make sure that I'm all set and I don't forget anything. It's such a bummer when you get out on the trail and you're like, can't believe I forgot this. Like, pretty critical things that get overlooked. Whatever it is, it could be different for everybody. But let's go ahead and pack this into the pack. So we're gonna just open up the roll top of this. Now, I always put my sleeping bag in first. The way that you pack your gear is going to be different. It's gonna be based off of like your specific needs and style and everything. But I put my sleeping bag down there at the bottom. And then I like to put my extra clothes, like my sleeping clothes and stuff. So the socks, the underwear, and my sleeping base layer. Usually there's a gap in the front of the pack here that I'll shove everything down into, and it just makes it fill that space a lot better. I kind of got away from not using a stuff bag for my sleeping bag, and I use a compression bag now as opposed to just being loose and shoving it down into the bottom of the pack. Again, it's different for everybody, but that's just like my style and how things have changed. And then from there, some people will argue with me on whether or not this is the right choice, because you do have to pull a few pieces of gear out. What I'm referring to is that I put my tent in next, because it's usually the next heaviest thing. It's bulky, and it puts it right above my hip belt for me to carry that weight a bit more comfortable, and it's right against my back as well. I don't find myself in rain super often here in Utah, so I'm not setting up in the rain on a regular basis at all. And so I don't worry so much myself about my tent being at the bottom of my pack with everything else on top of it. If I was going to be in a really rainy situation, then I would adjust how I pack in that situation. So I've rolled this up into what is going to fit inside of the pack better. And then that just goes in against the back. And then I take my sleeping pad, and that's going to go right in front of it. I like this. This is packing nice. And then I'll put my stakes down in kind of in that like space that is created between two round objects, kind of that V that ends up down in there. And then from there, I think we'll put the down coat, my jacket, fill that space, and then I think I'll do my mid layer as well in front of that, just kind of fill that gap, and then my cook kit can sit down in that space as well. And then from that point, man, I'm like down to all of this like water filtration stuff, my food bag, my chair, and this extra stuff that would go on the outside. This bag I am going to use, it's going to have all of my camera stuff in it. That's going to go at the top of my pack. So I think what I'll do next is, the thing I like about the Nemo Moonlight is the pack size of it. I can fit this in most of my packs in a horizontal direction like this, side to side, especially like up higher on the pack. And then, I don't know, it just makes it a little bit easier to carry that way as well. So what I'll do next is we'll go ahead and put these other electronics in front of it, and then my little hygiene kit in there as well, and my food bag. Even though the food bag is not currently like full of food, it will be later. It's just a placeholder for now. I think that's everything except this bag that's going to go in the main body of the pack, and then I'm going to try to fit everything else inside the front pocket here. So I've got my poop kit because I want really easy access to that. I'll shove that down in there, my first aid kit, and then I'm going to roll up these water storage bags because I also want easy access to those. Shove that down in there, and then my Canuck Vecto, and then my Sawyer Squeeze, and then around here on the shoulder strap of the pack, on my right side, I always clip my Zoleo to the shoulder strap there. Then the last things to put onto the pack are the tent poles for the tent, and then my water bottles. And then I want to weigh this and see how much this all weighs before water and food go into the pack, which, I don't know, it's probably about 16 pounds would be my guess. Let's see what we got here. I'm a good guess. It is 15.5 pounds for my base weight on everything for this fall backpacking trip. We've gone through, we've chosen all the gear, we've laid it out, made sure everything was there, and then did a first pack of the pack to see how I like it, see how it fits, and kind of go from there. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you enjoyed the process of seeing me kind of go through things, what it looks like, and just have a little bit different approach to a gear loadout video. So look for the full trip video coming very soon that features all of this gear. You'll see it out used on a trip, and I'm excited. So thanks for watching today, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Have an awesome day. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.